welcome to week 10 of the Stronger Bones Challenge. So, I'm very excited to say that week 10 we're going to be focusing on impact progressions. So, a little bit of safety first. This session is a progression from the first impact exercise we did. So if you have not done that video, please go back to it, and I'll even pop a little link in the bio. And also, any of these progressions, they are basically moving on from those exercises we did. So if there's any exercises in this video that doesn't feel good, please modify it with the ones we've already done. I am wearing shoes for this, and I advise that you do too. It just gives a little bit of extra cushioning and support for your feet as we're jumping up and down. Now we know exactly why we need impact: to help stimulate our bone boosting cells, right? And create strong bones. Now we are going to be doing 5 exercises, roughly for about 30 seconds each. After each exercise, we're gonna have a little break, and then we're gonna move on to the next. So it's gonna be fast and furious. Goal is that we wanna get those minimum of 50 impacts in today, and you can do this as many times throughout the week as you like. So I suggest, if you haven't warmed up already, go and do a quick warm up or do one of the videos before, and let's get started. Our first exercise is going to be a single leg heel drop. So remember from the first video, our heel drops are we lift and we drop the heels onto the floor with a reasonably straight leg, right? The harder I drop, the more force I'm going to create. Now a single leg heel drop, we're going to rise up onto both tiptoes. I'm going to lift one foot off the floor and I'm going to drop my heel. I then rise up onto both tiptoes, a bit of balance, lift foot, drop. Up onto the tiptoes, drop onto one heel. Up onto the tiptoes, drop onto one heel. Now, if you need a little balance aid, right, use a wall. Always make sure that you've got that support, but it wants to be heavy, right? Drop. Now you'll notice I'm kind of gently bending my knee with this heel drop variation, because this actually helps me to get a little bit more force, right? I want to think down, into the floor, down, into the floor, right? So if you haven't started with me, pick up and let's go now. We're going for about 30 seconds here. So we've got drop and drop, right? Heavy, into that floor. And remember, this is like, if you don't even have time to do all the videos, choose an impact exercise that you like, that you feel comfortable with, and see if you can pepper and sprinkle it throughout your day. We've got our last 5 seconds here. 4, 3, 2, last 1. Okay, we get that little tiny breather. From there, we're moving into our mini jumps. So let's remind ourselves of the importance of our landings. It's the landings that create the impact, okay? And we want to make sure feet nice, comfortable distance apart. You're going to drop into your squat, making sure, right, that we are stacking those weight, or stacking our weight, organizing those joints correctly as we land. So just do a couple of those little practice. So we drop into our squat, push the floor away with control. Drop and push, right? You'll notice I'm sending my hips back, my spine is straight, and I'm tracking my knees over my toes. So that's really important, right? Making sure we're not knocking those knees together. Drop and lift. Give me one more of those little practice drops. Drop and then lift. So now we're going to add in our mini jump. And when I mean mini, I'm pretty much keeping my big toes on the floor, or they're just skimming off of that mat, okay? So I'm going to bend my knees. And then as I lift up onto my heels, I do a little jump and down, right? And this, I want you to land like a ninja, right? Which we did in the first video. So this is to just give us a little bit of practice. Make sure that we can comfortably land, that we've got good organization. You notice I'm absorbing impact and shock through my legs. That's what helps us to build the bone, right? Soft, like a ninja. Last one. And then stand up tall. Give the legs a little shake. Now for this one, this is what makes it progression from what we did in the first video. We're going to make our landing a little bit stiffer, okay? Now the stiffer landing, the more impact and the more force we're going to generate for our bones. And we're really looking for 4 times our body weight to have enough impact to stimulate bone change or bone growth. So how do we stiffen the landing? Instead of landing like a ninja, I want you to land a bit like an elephant. My dance teacher would hate me if she could hear me say that. But what I mean by that is we want to land with a slightly flatter foot. So if you watch me, I'm going to do the example and then we're going to give it a little go together, okay? So I bend. As I jump, you see I just make a bit more noise. I try to get a bit of a flatter foot as I land, right? So I bend, take off, bit more of a landing and stamp. Now I want you to give me 5 of those at home. Super, super gentle, not coming up very high, like big toes are skimming off that mat. So here we go. We go down, we jump and relax. Wait a little second. Impact between timings is important, right? To give our bones enough time to respond to what we're asking them to do, okay? And again, bend, mini jump, stiff landing, and relax. Little breather. We got 3 more there, you're doing fab. Come into our landing position, jump, stiff landing, and relax. Little breather, last 2 here, bend, I think 2, jump, land, and stretch. Again, breathe, compose yourself. Final one here, bend, little landing, and relax. Really nicely done, guys. So that's our mini jump progressions. Now this next one we're going to be doing is a vertical jump. So this is, we're aiming to get a little bit of height. If you don't feel comfortable with height, then you can always keep this jump at the mini jump height, right? Just skimming those toes off the floor. So I'm going to have my feet directly underneath my hips. I'm going to bend my knees into my landing and takeoff position. And then I'm going to jump straight up and down, right? So I'm trying to get a lot of height here. And I'm trying to get my legs nice and vertical. You'll notice how I use my arms as I come up, helps me to generate force. And we call it vertical because literally straight up, straight down. So I want you to give a little go, right, of these for me. Make sure we've got a good takeoff, jump, and I want you to land like a ninja for the first couple to get a little bit of practice. So do a couple with me, okay? Bend, jump, land like a ninja. When we land like a ninja, we really take time to bend those knees, absorb the shock through the floor. One more like that, landing like that ninja. Good. Now, if that felt really scary and really tough, okay, I want you to keep landing like that ninja. I want you to keep practicing absorbing shock through the legs, using that muscular control as you land. If you feel like, I felt really good, I've been jumping for a while, I've got the strength in my legs, you're going to stiffen your landing. So it's going to look a bit like this. Try it with me. Try to land like that elephant. We're just making a bit more noise, right? Bend and up, okay? So choose your option. Land like a ninja if you're not feeling super stable yet, or stick with your mini jump variation we did before, or if you want to go with a slightly stiffer landing, make a bit of noise like those elephants. So here we go, 5 jumps, guys. Off we go. Bend, jump, and land. Good. We have 4 more here, okay? Make sure we take that breath, breathe in between. Bend, straight up, and land. Good. We rest, right? Remember, we want time. We don't need to kill ourselves doing lots and lots and lots of jumps all in a row. We can do one strong one to send one strong signal to the bones. So bend, jump, and land. Good. You've got your last 2 here, guys. I'll turn on a slight angle so you can see as well, right? Bend, straight up, and down. Last one here. Make it your best one ever. If you feel comfortable with height, get a bit of height. If you're landing like a ninja, keep that practice. Bend, jump, and relax. Shake those legs out. So our last 2 jumps are going to be multi-directional and then a rebound. Now multi-directional, obviously we're going to be jumping from side to side. In the first video, we jumped or we just did a little step. This time, we're going to start with the feet together, bend the knees, jump to one side, then we're going to bend, and we're going to jump back to the other. So I like to kind of imagine If I was stood in a little box, I'm going to jump to one edge of my box and I'm going to jump to the other edge of my box. Now, if you are someone who is not very stable on their feet, if you struggle with balance, okay, I want you to stick with your little jumps, okay? Because remember, the narrower base of support we have, the harder it is to balance. So remember, you can always jump with slightly wider feet, but today I'm going to do it with them together to make it more challenging. So we are just going to do 8 of these jumps in a row, and then we're going to have a little breather, okay? I like to think of these like little bunny hops, right? Shoop, shoop. Like you're on the ski slope, right? It's getting to that time of year. So here we go, guys, starting feet together or slightly apart if you need a little bit more base, bending the knees, jumping, doesn't matter which side you go, jump to the side, jump to the other, jump to the side. And I want you to kind of look where you're going. That's super important, right? Making sure we're challenging those bones. We've got 4 more here. Now, why do we want to jump side to side? Because bones are flexible, right? They are flexible and strong. So we want to make sure that we are transmitting forces in different directions. Last one on each side. I know I already said that, but it feels good to jump, huh? Last one. And then relax. Whew. Jumping is hard work, especially these progressions, right? So our final little exercise is going to be a rebound jump. The reason that we want to do a rebound jump is because it's a really great way to strengthen the force of the signal to strengthen the bones. So for example, if we do one big jump, that sends a good signal to our bones. We need to be loaded, we're loading and we need to be stronger. But if we do one immediately after, it like strengthens that signal. It tells the bone, oh, okay, no, I've got a lot of demand on me, I need to be strong. So that's what we're gonna do. 5 rebound jumps. Now, I am gonna do my vertical version that we practice, but remember, you don't have to jump super high, okay? You can stay keeping those big toes or just skimming the toes off the ground, or if you want to really go for it, you can do a big jump. Just to make sure that you're choosing the right level for you, okay? Only you can know, please be safe. So here we go, bending those knees, jumping straight up, and you're immediately going to jump afterwards. So we're going to go jump, jump, and then relax. And if you didn't do it, now's your chance while we take our break. Okay, and then we're going to go again. So we bend our knees into our landing position, loading those joints, jump, 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 and relax. Brilliant. We've got 3 more there. How easy is this impact stuff? Bend, jump, jump, wait. Give time for the body to respond. Last 2 here, bend, jump, jump. Really, really nice. Last one, if you feel brave, you want to stiffen the landing a bit, go for it. Here we go, bend, jump, jump, stop, and then relax. Come to the wall, or you can pop your hands on your mantelpiece, your sideboard, step 1 foot forward and the other foot back, right? Front leg is bent, back leg is straight, and you're going to drive that back heel down, just to give our calf a nice little stretch. Important after these. Now, if you're somebody who you've been struggling with rigidity fractures, or you've been specifically told not to do impact, then obviously these exercises aren't going to be right for you just yet. But the goal is that we want to help you build strength. When you're healed up from your fractures, then you can do these, okay? So very important. Once you've finished your stretches on both sides, give yourself a pat on the back. That is week 10, over and done with. We are nearly at the end of the challenge. So I look forward to seeing you back here for the next one.